Alright, today we're going to change the oil on the RS6. I know there's a lot of people in the forums that are concerned about changing it, or at least I've read it. I do all my oil changes with FCP Euro, utilizing their liquid moly oil change kit. So let's start off with raising the suspension up on the car. Alright, so if you didn't know, you go into the system here, you hit Vehicle, Audi Drive Select, raise the car up. My car is on lowering links and I'm going to be using quick checks to get it up in the air. So I got to raise it up to be able to get underneath it. I also like to go into settings and service. We need to put it on wheel change. That'll be it for now. You got to put it on wheel change because if you go to start the car up when it's up in the air to check for any leaks, if you have the air suspension and it is not on wheel change, you'll run into a really big problem where the system will actually think that it's trying to compensate for the air system. You want to be able to make sure that it doesn't do that. I had that do that on my first oil change. There's a spot where you can release the air out of the bags. Once you do that and you release all the air out, you can put the wheel back on and tighten the nut back up, and then the suspension will fix itself if you guys ever do that. Alright, so like I said, I use quick checks. I have the 5,000 pound ones, which lift the Audi up without issue. So I'm going to have my son go ahead and push it all the way up. Make sure you have it on its lift points. Go ahead and go all the way up. These are great too because as you can see there's little locking mechanisms here. So as he gets all the way to the top. Okay, go ahead and go down. Locks it right in place. So we're pretty far off the ground, as you can see. Alright, so we got to start by removing the undertray. There's a handful of Torx bolts that hold it in place. As you can see right up in here. And then back here, right in front of the transmission, there's these two little couplers right here. You can't see them because it's kind of dark. These are like push pins or like plastic rivets. So you need to, you got to pull those out with that, with like a pair of pliers. They're kind of a pain in the butt, but once you get it out, they slide right out. Alright, like I said, I use the FCP Euro Oil Change Kit. Shout out FCP. I'm not sponsored by them by any way, shape, or form. I just love their company and I love how they do things. So you get your 2 things of oil here. The entire thing will go in both. It's 10 quarts, 10 and a half quarts. They give you another crush washer. They give you a new drain plug and a new filter. If you guys did know about FCP Euro, you can basically drain your oil out, put it back in these containers, ship it back to them, and they give you store credit so you can utilize it in the future. So your oil changes only cost you, 30, 40 bucks to ship the product back, and then they give you store credit and you can just rebuy it again, over and over and over, so for the life of the car. So I've been using FCP Euro for probably 5 years now. I used to use them on my C63 all the time, and now I use them for my RS6. Alright, here's the undershield. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 screws. And then in the back, there's 2 humongous rivets, plastic rivets that are like body panel rivets. I broke one, unfortunately, taking it out, but as you can see, this is what they're at. So they're kind of a pain in the butt to get out, but once you get them out, they're out. Once you get that out, you'll see the underside of the motor. Your oil pan's right here. It's your drain plug. Just pop that off, let your oil drain out. This is a wet sump system, so it doesn't need any additional work to do the oil change. It's just like a regular car oil change. All right, so you want to get a T40 that's the size of the drain plug bolt. I only have 1/2-inch ones, unfortunately, so it'll have to do. It should break loose pretty easy. Unfortunately, with every oil change, as you know, it's messy as heck. So we're gonna let that drain for a couple minutes. All right, while we're waiting for the oil to finish draining, you gotta pop this bad boy off. Set her off to the side. There's your oil filter housing right there. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt to get out, but it takes a 32mm. All right, like I said, this thing's a little bit of a pain in the butt. You can get it loose pretty easy, but getting out of this little area is rather challenging. If I'm not mistaken, I believe I have to pull these little hoses off. Loosen it up first and give it a try. Not fully loose yet. There we go, now she's out. Oh no, you know what I did last time is I had to loosen these 2 bolts right here. Now I recall. Be right back. Alright, like I said, you gotta pull this bolt out right here, and then there's one over here. And these lines just pop right out, usually. Alright, once you pop those out, the filter housing comes right out. Voila. Alright, so right here is your filter housing. You just pop your filter out, it twists a little bit. And down here there's a little O-ring. As you can see, just get a screwdriver and gently pry it off. So if you do decide to go the FCP route, you need to send both of those back. They send you a new O-ring, new filter. So I like to put the O-ring on first, get it out the way. It goes all the way to the bottom. All right, we got our new filter in, O-ring here. So while these are out, just slide it right back on, twist it on by hand until you can't anymore. Grab your big old honking 32. And it'll stop you. There's not like a additional rotational force you put on it. See, it stops completely. That's it. You pop these lines right back in where they were. I believe these are oil feed lines for the turbos. So definitely don't want to lose the bolts for these. We'll put those back in real quick because they're a little bit of a struggle. Very highly suggest you get a magnet for this one right here because it is near impossible to get in there. You lose one of these bolts, you ain't getting it back because of the placement of the turbos and everything. And I just get me a T25 and finger tighten them, and then get yourself a socket and give it a little nudge, and then she's good to go and you can fill it up with oil. Once it gets done draining, put on your new crush washer and your new drain bolt, and then you're ready to put some oil in. Alright, so great thing about these FCP Euro jugs is they come with a little nozzle already on them, so it's very easy to pour in here. As I said, you will be using both 5-quart jugs that they send you. And if you know anything about the RS6 in specific, it drains oil, or not drains oil, I'm sorry, burns oil for whatever reason. So on occasion you'll get a notice on your dash that you need to top it off with oil. Make sure that you buy the correct brand. In a moment here I'll show you my brand that I top off with, that you can buy at the store. It's a Mobil 1 brand. But for whatever reason, this uses some type of new oil technology, and there's only a handful of brands that support it. And when you're done with all of this, you check everything and make sure it's not leaking. As I said, you just dump the oil right back into these jugs and send them back to FCP, and they credit your account. For the oil that I use to top off here, sorry, it's super hot out today here in South Carolina. I'm sweating like a pig. I always keep a quart or two in the car in case it does pop up, because this stuff is hard to find. It's Mobil 1 ESPX3. And the reason is it's a ACEA-C3 type oil. It's used by GM and Porsche primarily, but this car also utilizes that specific oil. So make sure that you have that oil for topping off purposes. All right, second jug. I've said it enough, but shout out FCP, because they make these oil changes so easy. Send you all the right parts, you don't got to worry about it. And your oil changes basically cost you, 30, 40 bucks, whatever it costs you to ship the product back, and they give you a store credit, and you can just utilize it with your next purchase. Most German cars they have on there, and if they stock the part, it's covered for lifetime warranty, everything except for aerosols, is what I've read on their site. But I've done brakes, I've done power steering lines, I've done suspension components. Anything really I can buy through FCP, I try to, because their prices are reasonable, and it's either OEM or OEM equivalent. And I've never had had an issue with them yet, so I really can't complain. All right, when you're done, just put your cap back on. I'll wait to do the heat shield in just a minute. I haven't started the car yet today, so why don't we do a cold start? My car has downpipes, resonator deletes, intakes, and it has a stage 2 tune, I think is what it is. This car was originally a Euro-fed Atlanta car. They ended up selling it, and I acquired it. So here's a cold start. Nothing leaking. I forgot to put my mic on for the cold start, so that might get deleted. Alright, so we get back in the car. As you can see, I got no warning signs up there, so that's great. We'll go back to settings and service. Make sure your wheel change is off. I changed it before I restarted the video. As soon as you do that, you can go back to drive select. You can lower the car up. And as it lowers, it'll realign itself to where it was prior to the wheel change. And then when you're done, go here, scroll down to your oil level. It takes about 2 minutes, but there'll be a little bar right here. It'll say max. It'll say oil level is good. I'm not going to sit here and make you wait 2 minutes, but that's all you got to do. Of course, put your pan back on before you lower the car. Check for any oil leaks, make sure everything's good. But it's a pretty easy oil change for the most part. Just take your time. It is a $100,000 car, so obviously you want to make sure you do it correctly. We had to change the oil up because we were over our 5,000 mile limit, and we're going to be hitting the road with Tour Deluxe Rally tomorrow night. We're headed up to Garysburg, North Carolina. We get up there, we have a track day at the NCCAR, I believe it's called. We'll be there for about 4 hours. Then we go to Virginia Beach. Once we're done in Virginia Beach, we hit Morehead City. North Carolina and Carolina Beach, and then we finish our time down in Myrtle Beach. So we love rallying in this car. I do media for them, but definitely give Tour Deluxe Rally a shout. Check them out. If you're on the East Coast, anywhere in the Carolinas, we travel all over the place as a car group, rallying for charity. So definitely check them out. If you got any questions, shoot me a message on Instagram at Hammy Media, or any comment or anything on YouTube I'll definitely reply to. But thanks for watching, guys.